What's going on? What's going on? I'm Eugene Napoleon. This is Napoleon's Corner. Hope all is well with everyone. Before I get started, do me a favor. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps, in support of building a channel and as far as subscription is concerned, and I definitely appreciate that. And I'm so blessed and humbled and appreciative for all of you who already are subscribed. And I just want to thank you. So please, before I get started, please make sure that you subscribe. Now, this particular episode is 199. 199, and the topic of this particular episode is common denominator. Common denominator. And it's interesting because you may hear that term quite a bit, and some of us understand exactly what that is. Some of us, we don't. So I'm kind of looking to break that down a little bit throughout this particular episode. And in the comments, you guys have been doing a great job over the last few weeks. Let me know what you think. So when I say common denominator, I'm thinking when you are the common denominator of chaos, everyone else is not the problem. I'm going to say that again. When you are the common denominator of chaos, everyone else is not the problem. So you may think, you may say, you may act as if they are, but they're not. So when you stop and think about what's going on in every situation, and you look at a given person, that this person said this, that person said that, and every single time that comes to you, and there's a person or a group of people in the middle of that chaos, they are the common denominators. And there is no other way around it. Everyone else cannot be wrong. So when you stop and think, and you pay attention to what's going on right now, and I can even use what's happening in our fair country as a good indicator of what this is, right? There's a bevy of issues that we have, a bevy, quite a bit, quite a few on different landscapes, right? There's always a common denominator in all of it. And when you start talking about, one of the reasons why I hate talking about politics, I hate talking about finances, I hate talking about religion, because when you do that, people tend to think that you pick a side, right? And if you pick the side that they don't agree with, now everybody has a problem, with you. Here's the case in point. That could be, there's no further truth in that statement, because just because you have a difference of opinion doesn't mean you're right or you're wrong. It just means that's your personal opinion. Doesn't mean you need to hate someone for their opinion, or you need to dislike someone for their opinion because it's different than yours. Doesn't mean that at all. It simply means that's your opinion. Well, it's the same thing when you talk about being or having a common denominator in an issue. Typically, 9 times out of 10, that situation that can be sought out if everybody came and sat down at the table to figure out what the heck is really going on is one thing. But when you have a divide and conquer type mentality, or you have an individual or group of people who that is their motive, that is their agenda, they then become the common denominator of chaos in the midst of trying to get something productive, trying to get something on a productive way or meaningful way done. They then become the common denominator, and you keep a whole bunch of BS going, and you really don't want to, let's say, sit at the table and be honest with what you just started, right? And then you point the finger at everybody else. It's clever. It truly is a clever method. But then really what it comes down to, it's just about being honest with yourself. Because when you walk away from that situation, you know the BS you started, you know the crap that you started, you know all of the things that you brought to the table that wasn't really right in that scenario. And you got everybody else infighting, everybody else backbiting, everybody else backstabbing, and you started the whole situation. And you've done this time and time and time again. You then become the common denominator when it deals with chaos, and you know exactly what you're doing, but yet you continue to do that. Nobody calls you out for it. So this particular episode, it's interesting because I wanted to dive a little deeper when it comes to that, because you can use this analogy, you can use this episode in any given on any given platform for any given topic of discussion. If you find someone or a group of people that move in that way, they are the common denominators of chaos. And you need to call them out on it. Honestly, because here's the thing. Once again, the way I was raised, it was real simple. Don't waste words. If you have something to say it, but have some facts behind it, right? If you don't mean it, don't say it. My mom was very clear on that as a kid. When I was being raised, don't waste words. If you don't mean it, don't say it. But if you do say something, make sure it's factual. You couldn't come to my mother with no BS and no half-cocked story. And we couldn't have any common denominators in our house of chaos. My mother wasn't going for it. She would call you out on it. She would make sure you understood. There is none of that. No, you said this. Well, then where's the facts? This is how you feel? Okay, I can't get upset with how you feel. But let's make sure how you feel, it's in clear. There is no contrast into what you're saying based on how you feel, because you done started some mess. And now you're trying to kind of scapegoat your way out of it. So you done throw something else on the wall, see if that sticks. So she's not paying attention to what, the first issue that we really had. She was not one to play those kind of games. So that's the way I was raised. So when I sit down and I think about certain things, or I see topics, or I see different things that are problematic and we're talking about it, I'm more apt to sit across from a person and ask questions. It's the funniest thing when you ask questions. And when you deal with people that are common denominators of chaos, oh boy, do they hate questions. They don't want to be questioned about the BS that they're starting. So if you ask a simple question and ask, that question means they need to break down the BS that they started, the chaos that they started. And you don't allow them to be the common denominator, because guess what? If you call them out on their BS every single time they do it, there is no common denominator. You know why? Because you singularly pointed that person out, or those group of people who continue to move in this fashion, and there is no common denominator of chaos, because you just broke up the chaos with legitimate questioning. Now, peep it. If someone is upset with you for asking a legitimate question when they're trying to stir up chaos, what does that mean? Honestly, what does that mean? They're not there to answer the legitimate factual questions. They're not there to really be a beacon of morals, of values, of high character and principles. They're not there for any of that. They're there to start chaos. So in any given group, you can have 3 or 4 different issues. If every time there's an issue with 3 or 4 different groups or 3 or 4 different people, and the same person name pops up, or the same group of people name pop up, they are the common denominator of chaos. Simple. And they need to be called out, brought to the front of the line, so to speak, brought to the front of the congregation, so to speak, and be honest with themselves. Stop it. You know exactly what you're doing. You know your purpose. And if that's your purpose, you need not be the leader of anything, the president of anything, the CEO of anything. You need not be to hold any position of power, because that's not going to get things done in a productive manner. You don't want to be, someone that's a common denominator of chaos, or a common denominator of anything that's negative. Now, if you want to be a common denominator of a person bringing people together, unifying people, bringing groups of people together. Be a common denominator in a positive way in that sense. Now we talk. Now we can talk. If you know that there's something going on over there and you got 5 fires going on, and you are that person that's bringing the water to each fire to put it out, be that common denominator. A person that's going to have something productive, something positive to bring to the table every single time. And when your name come up, it's coming up in a positive way. But whenever that thing flips and you are the common denominator of chaos, that's not good. And you shouldn't want to be attached to anyone or any group of people that brings that to you. No negativity allowed. Get those people up out of your cipher, get them from around you, call them out every single time it happens, and you be the source of positivity. You be the common denominator of what's positive, not negative. Be honest with yourself. If you are that person, be honest with yourself. Take a gander in the mirror and see what comes back. And if the image that you see in the mirror is blurry, then that means you probably more than likely, you're the common denominator of chaos. I'm Eugene Napoleon. This is Napoleon's Corner. I'll see you next week. Take care.